Welcome back, y'all, and happy Wednesday. This is the Bluechip Breakdown, and I'm your host, Bull. It's time for my 7 keys to victory and a game prediction for our Tennessee Volunteers. First, the Vanderbilt Commodores, please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Typically on Wednesdays, we do the midweek chat. I'm not quite sure if we're going to be doing it tonight because obviously tomorrow is going to be Thanksgiving. I got some family members coming in town, a whole lot of things to tend to, but we will let y'all know a little bit later on today if we're going to be doing that for sure or not. And if we do, we hope that everyone can join us. But let me go on ahead and get into my 7 keys to victory for our Tennessee Volunteers. Number 1 is going to be eye discipline. I'm talking about our defense. We all know the Vanderbilt does a ton of misdirection stuff, several different option plays, and they will also throw some wrinkles in there with some trick plays and things like that. We have got to have our eyes in the right spot on defense just to make sure that we are doing our assignment first. So that's going to be key. I think if Tennessee can just do that, we have a great shot to come out on top coming up this weekend. Key number 2 is going to be to play with proper leverage. And I'm, again, talking about the defense. We all know that, again, man, talking about the option game, somebody's going to be the outside guy, right? Somebody's going to be the inside guy. Your leverage has got to be right. And the same thing goes for, if we're blitzing Pavia, because he's a guy that does a really good job of scrambling outside of that pocket or just making things happen. He has a really good pocket presence, and our ends just have not played with the proper leverage. And again, same thing could go about our guys playing at cornerback, playing at safety, et cetera, et cetera. We have got to be in the right spots and play with proper leverage. Number 3 for me is going to be to tackle. Now, this is very obvious, but we have absolutely got to tackle this team because, again, man, Pavia, he can escape out of a whole lot of different things. So even if we're getting pressure on him, it doesn't really matter if we're not able to get him on the ground or at least hold on to him. You don't have to kill him. Just put your arms out there and grab a hold of him. I am honestly speaking, y'all, I'm a little bit tired of seeing our ends not doing that versus quarterbacks, especially talking about pass rush and things like that. Key number 4 for me is going to be to win on third down. I'm still talking about our defense because Vandy's going to want to take a lot of time off of the clock. They typically don't even snap the football until there's like 7 seconds left on that play clock. So they want to run this game down as much as possible, keep our offense off the field. And if we let them to, continue to sustain drives, then it's going to be almost impossible to get the football back to our guys so that we can score. So we've got to do a really good job on third down. Currently, we have one of the best third down defenses in the entire country. Did not like the way it looked versus UTEP. We got to get that fixed coming up this weekend versus Vanderbilt. Key number 5 for me is going to be the first one for the offense, and it's just to ID the defense because Vandy runs a 3-3-5 some of the time, but they run a 2-4-5 most of the time. They bring pressure from everywhere. They love to bring it with their cornerbacks, especially that nickel back or star player, which is what they call it, is also what we call it. And I think they probably stole that from us. But either way, we've got to make sure that we are identifying where the blitzes are coming from because just picking that up is going to be half of the battle. Vanderbilt loves to blitz. We also have to identify what coverage are they in because they do a really good job with the cover 3. They will, hide some things, but they can drop people from a lot of different places. If we can just do those 2 things offensively, we will find a ton of success, I think, coming up on Saturday. Key number 6 for me is going to be to stick to the run. Now, we understand at this point that who Tennessee really is this season more than any other season is a run-first team. We're going to lean on our running game. This is a must-win game. This is basically a playoff game. We talked about this versus UGA. We should have stuck to the run. We got away from it. We can't be out here trying to get cute, man, and trying to score style points. We don't need that anymore. All we need to do is win this game, and if we stick to the run, even if Vandy has success slowing it down some, if we stick to it, man, and, if we're just getting 3 yards on every single play, that's perfectly fine. But as long as we stick to it, everything else eventually will open up. We're going to wear Vanderbilt down. They do not have the depth anywhere to compete with Tennessee for a 60-minute physical affair. So we've got to make sure that we are sticking to the run game. Now, key number 7 for me is going to be to hit the deep shots. We've talked about this all season long, but Nico, the wide receivers, everybody, we are going to be able to scheme people open down the field. We talked about how Vandy loves to run that cover 3, and it's hard to throw the football down the field whenever they are in 3. But whenever we spread the field out, especially if we're going quads, they will have to go to cover 4. And that's where that, one-on-one matchup type stuff will come into play. We'll find those deep shots. We have better athletes on the outside than Vanderbilt does. We just have got to actually hit them whenever we get those opportunities. But that's it for me. I think that if Tennessee, hits on, I would say, especially for the defense, that's going to be the biggest thing for me in this game. But just hit on, 3 or 4 of these, we should come out of here with the victory. But if we can hit on all 7 of them, we're going to come out of here with, probably like a 20-point victory, which obviously would look a whole lot better heading into the playoffs. All right, y'all, now it's time for my game predictions. And this week, we're going to be starting off with Tennessee's offense versus Vanderbilt's defense. First and foremost, like we touched on, man, we've got to ID those fronts because they bring the blitzes, the pressure. It comes from everywhere. Not a whole lot of stunts, which is good, but for our offensive tackles, especially the pressure coming off of the edges, that does concern me. Okay, like I'm just going to tell y'all straight up, we need to have something to offset that. So maybe a few more screens, especially to our running backs, which we rarely ever do, or maybe some more of those tight end screens. That would be great. But because Vandy loves to run a cover three, number one, Nico and the entire offense has to take what they give to us, inside of that passing game. So the whole lot of underneath stuff going to be tough to go down the field vertically. But I do feel like Tennessee's going to run a lot more 11 personnel and spread the field out so that we can get more of those one-on-one matchups and try to go vertical down the field. We'll see how all that plays out. But the good thing about Vandy playing more cover three, which they do very well, is that we can hit them on the edges. It can be with our running back. It could be off of jet sweeps. It doesn't really matter as much. I like the jet sweeps better, but either way, we've got to try to hit the outside a little bit more in this game. Now, I do still think that Tennessee can effectively run that inside zone, running the football right at Vanderbilt. We'll see how much they want to stick to that. That's a big part of what we do, but I would love to see a few more wrinkles. Honestly speaking, though, we could probably just come into this game on offense and do what we do and be able to come on up out of Nashville with the win. So I feel fine about the offense having success. It might take a little while to get things going. There's no need for us to panic. Understand that the opening script should look good. But once the game settles into an actual game, at that point, then we have to, see what the chess match is. And it's not to say that Vanderbilt has some juggernaut defense because they really don't. But what they do well and they stick to it. Will Coach Heupel, will Coach Halsley, and this entire team really stick to what we do best? That's what I want to see. That's what good dominant football teams do, especially heading into the playoffs. So I am expecting for our offense to find plenty of success versus Vanderbilt's defense. Now let's flip the page. Let's talk about Vandy's offense versus Tennessee's defense, because this is what most people want to know about. So first and foremost, like we touched on, man, Vanderbilt does a whole lot of misdirection stuff, pre-snap motions and movements and shifts just to try to get our eyes wrong. Your eyes have got to be where they're supposed to be. If we can do that, then we'll be fine. Also, all the different option looks that they're going to give to you, it's just about playing discipline. Don't make it any bigger than what it has to be. And I touched on this earlier in this week. I think the Tennessee has a very strong edge up front, and that's the first piece to slowing down option teams, okay? Having a really good tackle play. We've got some very good tackles. Now, I do think that Vanderbilt has a good offensive line, especially with run blocking and things like that. They will be, double teaming. There's going to be a whole lot of duo stuff going on up front, but I would just have to anticipate that we're going to be fine. Our guys, especially our starters, like the starting four, maybe even five, they are really good at not getting moved. But our ends, man, they have got to keep contained. They've got to play with the proper leverage. And I think that Tennessee will do what we've pretty much always done versus these types of, option quarterbacks. And that's, hey, look, you're going to give the ball to somebody else. Like, you're not going to beat us. We did that versus Milroe with Alabama, and I damn sure think that we could do the same thing with Pavia at Vandy. Also, he's supposed to be, a little bit banged up, so that could play into Tennessee's favor. Now, they will try to eat up as much clock as possible, so it will be important for us to get off the field. I'm expecting that Tennessee might blitz a little bit more in this game, because something else that does kill option teams is blitzing them. If you blitz and if you're playing with the proper leverage, with the proper discipline, then you can absolutely destroy option teams. And hey, man, if Tennessee does get up, which I am expecting for the offense to do for us, if Tennessee does get up offensively, or just with the entire team, but if we get up, then I do believe that making Vandy more of a passing team, that would definitely play into Tennessee's hands. I would not be surprised if we get turnovers in this game. That's something that Vanderbilt does not do a lot of. But if Tennessee can be +1 in the turnover margin, then this game is pretty much a wrap, or at least it should be, as long as everything else is going according to plan. But I would expect for us to, mix up the nickel with some 4-3, because again, man, whenever they go to 12 personnel, it is, a very high percentage that they're going to run the football. They don't like to pass it as much out of 12. Now, will Vanderbilt start to get away from some of their normal tendencies for this game? If there's any game that they're going to do it, it would be this one. Okay, the last one of the regular season versus a hated rival. The trick plays and all that type of stuff, it's going to come out. But on the outside, man, they can't beat us. We've got to watch that tight end. That's who they love to throw the football to. Everything's going to be quick. It's catch the ball, fake the handoff, throw it, or catch the ball, take a couple of steps back and throw it. They love to throw deep fade balls, and it's typically not going to be as accurate. If they do that versus us and they leave the football in play, we are going to turn them over. Our cornerbacks will shut down their wide receivers on the outside. So this is a really big game for our guys up front, but we haven't touched too much, on our linebackers and our safeties. This is a huge game for them as well. And we've talked some about, man, the linebackers might not, be getting blocked as much. Vandy doesn't always get up to the second level, especially on their dive plays. Now, once they try to go to the edge, we'll see them, get up to the second level some. And that's going to be about, hey, man, if a linebacker ends up kind of getting picked off, if he's getting blocked, the safety's got to come down and fill and tackle in space. And we do all those things very well. So I feel good about this game. I know that some people are stressing out about it, and I get it. This is really big for us to make it to the college football playoffs, but we've got to focus on this one first. Our guys, right? Our players, our coaching staff, they are dialed in. They will be ready for this game. I fully expect that Tennessee is going to come out and have a great showing, especially on defense. And I think all we need is, like a slightly above average game from our offense for us to win this game by a pretty sizable margin. And my final score prediction will be coming out, obviously, on Saturday morning with our pregame show. But that's it for this one. Not a whole lot for me to dive into. It's pretty straightforward. We just got to go out there, take care of business versus Vandy, and head on to the playoffs. But please share your thoughts with me down in the comment section. And as always, thank y'all for sticking all the way to the end. Please make sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, share with your friends, family, and other volunteer fans. We'll see y'all on the next one. Thanks. Peace.